here live again, guys. What's up, everybody? Let's wait a couple of minutes so everyone can join in. Today, actually, we have a really special guest. Hi, everybody. Where are you watching from, by the way? So I was waiting a couple of minutes to everyone join in the live so we can introduce a special guest today. And we'll see how it goes. Where are you guys watching from? Mexico, hola Mexico, Pakistan, hey, Germany. Wow, so many people, Philippines. Nice. Colombia, hello Colombia. Netherlands, amazing. So amazing to see you all around the world, guys. Hope everyone is safe and good in this period. Brazil. Oh my god. So I was waiting to people join the live so I can announce that there's a special guest today, which is Brian North, if you guys didn't know who it is. So we're gonna talk about filmmaking, travel videos, and so many cool stuff. So let me see if he's online. We can invite him. Yes. Saudi, Tanzania, wow. Beautiful. Such amazing to share so many people around the world. Let me see if Brian can connect with us. We are inviting him. Hope everyone is safe around the world with this period of time, hard times actually. Let me see. We are inviting Brian to join the live, so we'll see when he joins us. Guadalajara, wow, Vietnam, India, Transylvania, wow, Indonesia. Oh my gosh. Merhaba. Let me see. We are waiting for the Brian North to join us. Yeah. Hey!
How's it going, brother?
Very well, and you?
Oh, not too bad.
Nice. How you holding this period? Without traveling?
Yeah, man. I've been indoors now for almost a month. It's unusual.
Yeah, I definitely feel you. Where are you calling from?
At the moment, I'm in Johannesburg in South Africa. So right down, bottom of Africa.
Not that bad, honestly, to be in your place.
No, I can't complain.
You have at least some good sea and a good view around the world.
Yeah.
Nice. What's the time?
I think it's 6 o'clock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, perfect.
It's the same as me, right?
Yeah.
Wow, I thought there was a huge time difference, but anyway, nice. Nice. So, can you please introduce yourself a little bit for those who doesn't know you? What are you doing, and basically your story?
Sure. Okay. So, my name is Bryn North. I guess I can call myself a filmmaker these days.
You guess?
Yeah. I started about 6 years ago. To be honest, it was all because of a little GoPro. I went mountain biking with my brand new GoPro. I broke my ankle that day, but I had the footage of it. And then, so I broke my ankle. I was in bed for about 6 weeks with a broken ankle. So I Googled how to edit, footage, how to edit my GoPro footage. And then literally that's how I started to learn. I just asked the internet all the questions. It had all the answers, and I started to teach myself, I guess, the basics.
Wow.
And
so you kind of like self-teaching, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I did in university. I did all the business degree stuff, and then I completely dropped that and just started. I mean, I really enjoyed the creative process of this, and I just slowly but surely taught myself more and more, and the most important part, practiced more and more. And then I did a lot of sport filmmaking, which is what actually allowed me to start traveling a lot, following a lot of athletes around the world before
What kind of
26.
sport? I'm just curious because I never see your sports videos.
This was like it was anything outdoors, so mountain biking, trail running, anything that just put me in the mountains. I was stoked to be involved in.
Action.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so I guess that's the direction I first took, and then after that, I slowly moved. I mean, I enjoyed the travel aspect of it. And from that, I guess I really started to enjoy the travel, that I looked for other means to allow me to travel. So eventually I started working with some tourism boards, some brands that were beyond South Africa, and working with other creatives. I mean, there's lots of other travel influencers that I've worked with.
But do you work like alone with collaborating, or you have your like own team that you bring with you?
So mostly I've been hired. So normally, I mean, the most obvious example is probably someone that most of you people watching now know is Sam Calder.
Okay.
And so for instance, I worked with him where he's been offered opportunities and jobs to go to places, and he's brought me on board to come and travel with him, to create for him. So often that's normally
must be exciting.
No, it's great. I mean, I can't complain. It's taken many years to get to that point.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's incredible that you get to work with people that have a similar drive or goal as yourself. So, I mean, working with these people, you learn so much from them, but at the same time, you're doing a job,
Yeah, definitely. Because I think also it's kind of the challenge to work with others, because they have totally different like lifestyle, and not just lifestyle, but just doing things, right? Working, and you kind of put yourself in a hard situation where you can learn as well, and you can also teach something as well, right?
Exactly. That's I think that's the one thing. We all work, and at the end goal is we're trying to make some money, right? But I think at a certain extent, making money just allows us to go day to day. But it's the learning that we get from these different jobs that, I can go work. That's going to last forever. What I learn on that job, I can use for the rest of my life. So I can go do a job, and maybe I'm not going to earn very much for that job. But the truth is, what I gain, the knowledge I gain from working in that opportunity, I can use that for the rest of my career. And that's way more valuable. Yeah.
It's like something that I think filmmaking and everything about the creative process, generally, like you never stop learning, even if you're like finished college, school degree, whatever it is.
Never.
It's like, this is kind of exciting things about our jobs, right?
Exactly.
And I feel like bad when people ask me what kind of job you do, and I'm like, I don't have a job, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It should never feel like a job,
Exactly.
Exactly. The point of it is always, yes, it's to make a living, but it's the constant progression, learning that really excites you, and that makes you want to go to work, makes you want to go out there and do more. Is that idea that you're going to come back with more knowledge, and I think, personally for me, that's what makes it exciting. Yeah.
Definitely. Just one thing to mention on our community, that guys, we will start replaying all your questions after we finish our chat with a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So feel free to watch now, and then you can start pumping our with questions, mainly in 20 minutes, something like that. So don't get mad about us if we ignore you.
Yeah, exactly. So, I want to hear all the questions. So definitely at the end of this, I'm keen to answer them.
There's already a lot of questions, but I feel so bad that we talk and we ignore them.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll get to them.
I firstly discovered you on YouTube because I'm mainly a travel filmmaker, and generally I watch all the travel videos and stuff like that. And then I saw your video from, I think, Bangladesh, correct?
Yeah, man.
And I saw that video before even seeing how many views it has and everything like that. And I saw that video, I was like, so simple but so powerful. Well, I was like speechless, to be honest with you.
Man,
totally speechless, and also inspired. So my question is, like, how do you get inspired to do those things, like very I would say tailored films around some places, right? How
Okay,
do you
I
get
think
inspired, like, to do that?
so. What inspires me the most? I mean, I know travel filmmaking these days has this stigma around it of, this influencer sort of traveling around the world. But for me, it's really got to do with, travel in a sense is it's being in an uncomfortable situation. It's putting yourself in a situation that's different to what you're used to. So for me, being able to go to a place or go to a different city or a country and to be in an environment that feels so foreign to me, that is what inspires me, because all of a sudden I'm in a new environment, and truthfully, like, that's how I get creative, is by putting yourself in a situation where you have to look at things differently. Things aren't how you normally see it every day, day in, day out. So you look at things with a whole new perspective.
Wow.
And something as simple as someone just making bread on the side of the road, can seem so interesting just because it's so different to how you used to seeing, or that sort of thing. So for me, I guess it's just putting myself in an uncomfortable situation, and just documenting it.
That is really like different point of view, to be honest with you. Because I'm mostly used to like plan everything precisely, and knowing that anyway it's not gonna end it like that. You know what I mean? So do you like do you like to plan something when you shoot, or you just like how I would say, like, you just get lost in a certain places? So this is how you get inspired.
Exactly. So there's a general plan. I like to have at least an idea of, I want to go to a certain location because I want to capture, say, this market, or I want to go to this. There's a beautiful spot here. So there's a plan, there's a goal with what I'm trying to capture. But, I like to think travel filmmaking is more along the lines of documentary style, where you need to just go with the flow. You arrive on location, you don't want to start shooting straight away. You want to actually embrace it, look around, see what there is, see what the people are doing, and from that you get the inspiration and gives you a direction.
Wow!
Because it's documentary style, you don't have control over the variables. You're a fly on the wall in essence. So you need to see how the world is operating around you, and from that, then you go and start filming. And piecing it together. And obviously the main goal is to never just get one beautiful shot. It's to film a beautiful scene. There's no point just having one great shot. You look at your surroundings, you're like, right, how can I build a sequence out of this scene? And that's kind of how
would I share this story, right? That I'm seeing and living right now, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for good tips for as well me.
No worries. Yeah.
So, like, what's your favorite like part about doing everything about travel films? Like, not just travel film, but general. Like, you like editing, like filming. Directing. What's your favorite? I know it's a hard question because we as a filmmaker tend to do everything by yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So first off, I think it's extremely important to try a bit of everything. Okay. Because, for instance, when you're starting out, if you get in the field and you're filming, it's going to help you when you're editing later. Understanding all the different aspects of the filmmaking realm is going to make you better in your particular field that you decide to go down. For me, I would say my favorite is the filmmaking. I mean, is the actual filming process. Not particularly because I think I'm the best at it. Like, I think I'm probably a better editor, but I enjoy the filming side because I'm in it. Like, I like to be surrounded, like, for me, especially when it comes to travel filmmaking, it's quite a personal thing. I want to gain from it in terms of the experience. I want it to change me. I want to feel it. And I think being the filmmaker, holding the camera and being in the situation is probably my favorite.
Wow.
The editing side is, I think I'm better at it.
Really?
And that's the part where I get to. Yeah, I think I'm better than that than the filming side. But
all right,
this is when you can mold your story. This is the time where you've got all that information. Now it's fun because you're almost playing God in a sense. You've got all this footage, and you're going to decide how the viewer sees your story, how it's going to flow. And I like that aspect of it. The directing side, I think that's always fascinating because you have to have an out-of-world look. You're always thinking of the bigger picture. Okay. Although you're calling the shots in terms of you planning it, but you always have to have this bigger picture sort of look, and that's very healthy when you're involved in a project. Just to always think.
That's actually the hardest part, right? To imagine everything.
I'm not a director. Yeah. There's people way better than I am. Yeah.
Yeah, because definitely, to be honest with you, like when you do something like a project, right, and you are 100% into it, and this project you like, maybe let's for instance say maybe you're not the best at editing, but then you have to give someone to edit the footages, and it's like not the same as leaving those scenes that you filmed and you had in mind, and then right, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's hard when you work in a team. It can be quite difficult because and I guess that's the importance of everyone understanding from the get-go what the goal is. Exactly. So you're all working together, and because it's tough when you go and you film and you've got these ideas and then you give it to the editor, but you don't have a conversation with them, and all of a sudden the editor comes back and you're like, oh, that's not quite what we had in mind. Blah, blah, blah.
It's good to have a team where you work with them, and it just can be like more productive and everything like that. But it depends, depends what kind of projects you do, and this.
I work a lot by myself. I work a lot by myself in terms of I do both the filming and the editing side. But when I do work in a team, often it's with people that I've worked with before, people that I truly enjoy, or like friends. The community aspect, because that's how you get the best out of people, is when you're in an environment that you're truly happy, you're excited to be there, you're excited to be working with these people. That's what makes projects way better. I've definitely been in situations where I'm not super excited with the people I'm working with, and you don't get the best out of me if I'm not in that sort of mood of.
Yeah, totally, because it's all about, like, as you said, community behind that you do. Well, speaking about editing, like, what's your favorite editing program? Like Final Cut, Premiere,
I know there's the Final Cut and Premiere Pro debate always going on, but I'm a Premiere Pro guy. I see someone watching from Zimbabwe there. Awesome. I'm actually from Zimbabwe, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was there for 18 years of my life. Anyway, back to...
Really? 18 years?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a whole other story, yeah.
We'll get back to that.
Yeah. But yeah, I edit in Premiere Pro. I started with Final Cut way back many years ago. Then I tried out Premiere Pro. I liked it, and I just haven't gone back. Yeah.
Nice. Did you try?
I tried Final Cut again for a bit, but to be honest, a lot of it's got to do with the people you work with. For instance, if you're sharing projects and you're working on projects with people, it also depends on what programs they use.
Yeah.
So if the majority of the people that I work with use Premiere Pro, it makes more sense because we can share projects, we can work on it. And so like if I want to change, I have to convince my friends to change with me.
Would you be able to change it, to be honest? Or
I'm keen to try DaVinci Resolve. I'm always keen to do other bits and pieces, but at this point, Premiere Pro is doing just fine.
Because I've been also like Premiere Pro user, and I obviously use Mac, but so many people like say you can be a lot more faster on like Final Cut, right? As a working program, but I just feel like when you're used to too many years to work on a program and you just don't want to change your lifestyle.
It's tough to change. because the truth is you're going to be slower at first. We're so fast on the program we know, and then you swap and you're going to be slower. It's going to take a while to build up again, but we'll see. Yeah, I'll try DaVinci.
Exactly. What would be one of the best tips you can give to anyone as just starting about travel videos? Pro and cons. What would be
I think a tip would be, we get so caught up these days, and I'm sure you've heard this so much about in the gear, what gear you use, and we watch so much online, and the truth is, at the end of the day, you're not going to learn unless you practice. Okay. And that is just the only way, you can progress. That's the fastest way to progress, and that's by practicing. And it's so easy to go out there, and in our heads, we're like, this is what we're going to create. We're going to do this, and you're going to suck at first. I did, but when I look back at my films from 6 years ago,
I know the feeling, I know.
Exactly. So you just have to accept that and be like, listen, I'm not going to be good right now. We have goals which we're going to set, and we'll get there eventually, but practice, and you'll eventually get there. It's so easy to give up when we compare ourselves online these days. We watch all these amazing videos, and you sit there and you're like, I'm never going to be that good. But the truth is, those people have put in years and years of practice, and if you do it, you'll get there.
There's a huge, still a huge debate about latest Sam Calder's video around super cool transitions, and which is everything super cool, but at the end it's very many years of practice, many years of working hard, and at the end, it's looking cool, but you have to realize what's behind, right?
Exactly. So I mean, it makes sense to be trendy. If transitions are trending at some point, I think it makes sense to follow those trends, learn those skills, but don't hold on to it. Don't learn that one trick and keep doing that same trick. Again, it's the progressing, try new things and keep moving forward. I mean, I used to do a lot of transition stuff when I first started, and now I've learned, and I've realized it is more about the story and the flow. You can have a beautiful edit that is just very simple and slow and just cut well, Actually, and this is another tip you mentioned for beginners, we get so caught up in filming and the shooting aspect. Pay a lot of attention to the sound of your films. That is it's something I never thought about at first, and only recently I realized.
Me neither, totally. I learned that for many years.
if you start learning, including sound design, think about the pacing. You can use the music and the sound to really make your film seem so much better. So practice that as well, yeah.
Because one of the things I saw in your Bangladesh video was the sound design was even more. I don't know how to tell it, but it was so well made it.
Thanks, man.
Way more beyond. I was like, wow. It's when you have a good sound effect, sound design behind the visual, just good visuals, it's made you feel like you're actually there,
exactly
living this.
So that's how I often try when I try to explain it. I'm like, when you're watching a video, right? So this is the screen. This is what we're watching. These are the only visuals we're getting. That's the information we're being given. But now when you start adding sound on top of that, it helps our imagination get beyond that screen. I'm watching a train going past, but in the background you're adding, different sound effects, and the train coming up, there's a hooting going on. I can hear the environment, and that makes the film so much more engaging. It just opens it up from this box of visuals to now this wide where, I'm fully immersed in it.
Definitely. That was actually a very good tip. I hope the people did heard about it and just embrace it. Nice. Speaking about gears, what do you what do you often use or on a daily basis?
On a
not
daily
just for
basis?
videos, but for anything you do on filmmaking?
So I've used Canon cameras. I've used Sony's. I've used I've shot on a red a little bit on like 1 or 2 projects, but the camera that
red on a Travos.
No, not on travel, like on a proper shoot. But that's the next.
Trust me, I saw so many people using red on travel. Sounds like wow, oh my god.
I can't because I use a Panasonic GH5, and I've used this now for 3 years. And
Which
the reason
is a
why
wonderful camera, right?
The reason why I've loved it so much is that it does everything so simple, so clean. It's so small. And especially if you travel filmmaking, or let's just call it run and gun filmmaking, you don't want your gear to get in the way. You don't want to think about it. So for me, I've got this tiny little setup. I've got a flip out screen, so I can put my mic on there. I can shoot 4K 60. I can shoot 10-bit, and for my needs right now, that's perfect. And the smaller the camera as well allows you, especially in travel filmmaking, to enter certain scenarios which you couldn't with a big setup. So, for instance, if we use Bangladesh as an example, certain areas that I went into, if I went in with a big camera, huge lens on there, and a full setup with 2 people, one guy on a, doing sound on a boom, I would never have been able to capture what I could. But having a small little camera like that is so, it's people don't feel threatened by it. I just get eye contact with them, give a little smile, let them know they can see the camera, but they just think, I don't look imposing.
It's for fun, yeah, right.
Exactly. And because of that, I'm able to capture a lot more raw moments of people doing honest things, just doing as they would. But as soon as you bring a big rig into the equation, people act differently. They're not going to be themselves. They're going to feel like, oh, is this the news? Is this for a big TV show? So I guess, it's not just about the size in terms of what the camera offers, but actually about how people perceive it.
Definitely. And do you have any kind of gear tip other than just... I know you just say that like you use so many cameras, different sensors, which GH5 has a micro four thirds sensor, which is very small, right? So what is about like using full frame rather than GH5, which is very tiny?
So I haven't had, so the smaller sensor size is definitely, it's not as good in low light, but it hasn't been a big issue for me because often I like to capture, when I'm shooting, I like to capture the surroundings as I'm seeing it. And often I don't go above ISO 1600. And the GH5 at 1600 is fine. It's a bit noisy, but you can clean that up easily. So for me, it hasn't been a problem. What you do need to do, though, is you need to get lenses that are faster. Just, so I use like the Sigma 18 to 35. That's 1.8. And then I've got a Metabones as well on there, speed booster Metabones. So then it actually becomes a 1.2
more, right?
And it's wider, yeah. So I gain a little bit from that as well. So that helps.
So I have a really hard question for you. Are you ready for this?
A hard one. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, definitely. What would be your 3 tips that you wish you know before starting filmmaking that you want to share now?
3 tips that I wish I knew before. Okay, well, the first tip would be actually one tip that I'm still trying to practice now, and that is to not care what people think.
Okay.
It's because the thing is
very hard, to be honest.
It's so hard, but it's probably the thing that's going to hold you back the most, and it's often worrying about what other people think is going to slow you down, and once it slows you down, it means you're not practicing as much. And the slower you practice, you're not going to get to your goals as fast. So for me, I think especially when you're starting off, put blinkers on in a way. Just keep practicing, keep going. You're not going to be good, straight away.
Because to be honest with you, it's very hard because you have to be aware of what people are doing around you, right? Because the more you're watching, the more you're kind of learning, right? But at the same time, you get, influenced by the things that,
especially these days with social media, it's hard.
Exactly. It's like it's a good, but it's not good,
No, exactly. But it's definitely, because it's like I was saying, it's something I still have to try and practice now. And I know it affects me, and I just wish it didn't, but it does. And yeah, always worrying about what people think.
One positive things we can say about it, like whenever someone gives you a good feedback, I generally, but most of the people I know generally try to understand the critique about it and tries to have something back positive, right?
Definitely.
Instead of just this video is bad, which doesn't make any sense. Why it's bad? Like why? You know what I mean?
Constructive criticism. That is definitely that helps a lot. Another tip would be.
I know this is hard.
Yeah, so I guess I kind of touched on it before, but also like the gear. Don't get hung up on what gear you're using. As long as you're able to convey the story that you want to tell, I think the gear will come. It'll get there. But just because if your camera is not as good as the person next to you doesn't mean you can't tell the same story. Maybe it might not look as good or exactly how you want to, but it's those are things you can worry about at a later stage. Only when you get to a certain point do we look for those small benefits. But at first, just use what you have. Like I said, I use a GH5. I've used it for 3 years. I haven't upgraded yet because it's doing a fantastic job. Right, another tip that I wish I knew. Oh, another tip again. This one's also, we get so hung up in terms of the creative side, right, of filmmaking.
Right.
But filmmaking is also a business.
Okay.
So
this is a good tip. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So there's a lot more you need to think about than just creating the best video. But it's your brand. You have to think about you essentially you're doing everything. You are the owner of your company if you're a run and gun filmmaker like myself. So think about different streams of income. Yes, you get hired for an editing or filming job, but you need to think of the bigger picture. And again, this is something I didn't do at first.
Which is one of the hardest thing about our jobs, right?
If we look at this situation right now, like with coronavirus, all of a sudden, all my jobs for the next 3-4 months have been cancelled.
Definitely.
And like I was saying, now that's gone. What other aspects of my business can I rely on? And that's the bit where it's made me realize even more how important it is to actually have different streams of income, be working on various things. And again, it's like being a filmmaker is not just about being good at making a film. Like at this stage, it's even just running an Instagram page. You have to market yourself.
So I do really, actually, you touched really good topic to talk about, because there's two aspects about our job. There's a creative process and there's a business process, where someone like to focus on creative, but then he cannot make money, he cannot make a living of this, which is very hard, right?
Yeah.
And someone I've seen so many people without any kind of creativity, but they know about business. And they progress so much, And speaking about this topic and the actual COVID situation, what would be your tips to earn something while you cannot work? Let's make it general, right? So, what's your suggestion to have different source of incomes in filmmaking?
Okay, so I think you need so the assets you gain, for instance, like the footage when you go on a shoot and you film. Obviously, if you're expecting to get that footage to make the film, you can now use that footage for other reasons. I have friends that are involved in the stock, selling their stock footage. So either you sell it on your personal, or you put it up on other sites. So use all these assets that you get along the way, to continue to build a residual income. There's so many. For instance, I'm building my website at this point, which, it's crazy to think that after however many years I've done this, that I'm only now, because I'm forced to be sitting at home, where I'm like, okay, well, let me finish my website. There's so many other little aspects that we just forget and don't think about. But again, you'll see there's the courses side of things, there's the tutorial side of thing. I've never taken YouTube seriously either. I do have
Really?
videos.
Oh my god.
No, like YouTube for me is just where I don't make any money off YouTube. You know, it's kind of been when I have a little bit of my own bit of time or extra money, I'll go off and I'll make a video for myself. But that's not where my income comes from. I think I make maybe $60, $70 a month off YouTube, which is a joke, you know. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's like,
I mean, it depends. Like, if you are some places, it's a lot of money. But
it's like the amount of time and effort I've put in. You know, when you look at it that way, the amount of money that was spent, say, on some of those videos, I definitely haven't even covered the costs involved. But I mean, I guess that's the thing. Is like utilizing all your different outlets. You know, use Instagram, use YouTube, use your stock footage, build other assets. You know, whether it's regards to, for instance, at the moment, I'm about to release my LUTs.
okay,
I've got a sound effect pack that I've been working on that in 2 weeks' time I'm going to put out. So there's these other aspects that, you know, I guess complete the circle of being a freelancer. Not just hiring my skills in terms of being an editor, being a filmmaker, but I need to think of the whole package as a business. And again, this Corona thing has really, it's helped me like ground me. I haven't picked up my camera once since I've been indoors.
I totally understand, because even I think we are, I think 2 months we're locked down right now in Italy. It's trust me, like from a mindset perspective, you were getting crazy.
Yeah, man, I'm coming up on a month now, and I'm like,
yeah.
But I won't lie, it's given me perspective in terms of like, it's made me appreciate all the travel that I've been able to do.
Definitely.
Like, yeah.
I wouldn't say there's positive things about it, you know what I mean? But there's definitely things that we can appreciate more as they are not used to. So I would say, like, to not get so many mad people around here, let's just replay some questions. Feel free to read something or replay. I will as well.
Yeah, ask me some questions, guys. I'd love to answer.
I have, let me see. I like this question. Let me see if you can replay.
What is the best mirrorless camera to buy if you're starting? I'd say go for something really cheap. And if you're a beginner, it depends. It all comes down to what you're trying to gain from it. So are you doing stills? Are you doing video? Do you want it to do both? You know, when I look at the Sony a6500, something like that, I think that is a great sort of beginner camera because it does really good video. It's got very good autofocus. So if you're a beginner and you're not, you don't have to do manual focus, it's pretty good at that. And it takes some decent stills, and you can pick it up for a decent price these days. So I guess, yeah, that's I'll say something along that lines. Yeah.
What's your favorite country you've ever been?
Man, that's a tough one. That is a very tough
every
one.
Every country has something special, you know, to share.
Yeah, I think I could probably talk about, and this is the thing, is like, you know, I've been to countries and I'll go and I'll film somewhere. I never think of, oh, that's my favorite shot. You know, I always think of my favorite moment from a country. I don't even think about the film. I think about a situation I was in, and again, I guess that's where I benefit the most.
Itself, right?
It's the experiences. I mean, I can think of, there's a few moments in Kenya where I was sleeping in a forest with some Maasai warriors. Like, they didn't speak any English. And we built like a surrounding. We had hyenas trying to come in because it was incredible, and I couldn't communicate with these guys. So it's like a moment like that. Bangladesh for me was incredible.
We should make another live stream, me and you, with talking about travel stories.
Oh man, you could just choose a country that I've been to, and I'm sure I could pick 2 or 3 interesting stories from each. Yeah.
Awesome. Getting permission to film people and film private places. How do you handle that?
Okay, so I think it all comes down to, you need to be a super friendly person. Sometimes, you know, be smiling. Don't be in a big group. If there's a whole bunch of you and you're trying to get a moment, ask the people you're with to stand back. Go by yourself. You know, if there's one person that you want to film and you arrive when there's 4 or 5 of you in a group, there's no doubt they're going to feel a little, you know, what's going on here. But if you approach someone just by yourself with a smile, often what I'll do is, you know, I'll sort of give a little wave. If they seem happy and they wave back, I'll point at the camera, point back at them, and if, you know, give it a little thumbs up. And if they just feel fussed about it, exactly. And what I often do is I'll start on a longer lens. So say the 70 to 200. So I start at a distance, and if they seem comfortable, I'll get a bit closer. I'll change lens, and to the point where if this person is very comfortable with me and they're happy with me being there and they've accepted me being there, then I'll put on the wide angle and I'll be right up in their face, you know.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
How do you, I believe this is very like a random question, how do you create such a beautiful transition, but I would re-say it, like how do you like program to do a transition? Because I believe there's like before thinking, like programming, doing, executing, and then at the end editing, right?
So for me, I don't like to do I don't put any plugins, nothing like that. So with the transitions, it's usually done, I think, beforehand. When I'm filming, I whip the camera around a lot, or I use objects that are passing the frame. If it's a busy street and there's lots of people walking in front of me, I want them to walk in front of me because it'll be a nice clean cut. You want obstructions, whether it's I'm running with the gimbal and I end the shot by panning into a wall or something like that, and my next shot I start from behind an object. So it's just finding different shots that have this clean, making more seamless transition,
right?
Yeah. So just having natural objects that are cutting the frame help you really cut that way. And also speed ramping is another way to do it. If you got a slow shot, just by adding a little bit of speed at the end of the shot.
You did really master that on the Bangladesh video, right?
Yeah, so it's just sometimes the speed of the one shot exiting and then the speed of the next shot, if they're the same, it just feels more natural and less jarring.
That's a good one.
Oh, another quick point on that. It's all about flow. So, for instance, if you've got a shot panning from left to right, your next shot should also be from left to right. It should always feel like a river, imagine, moving together.
Exactly. Like imagine as a whole one sequence, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
What's this one? How do you come up and plan the story when you're out shooting? Oh, yeah, I come up with it on the go. I've got a basic idea of what I want to capture from a certain scenario. I'm like, okay, this is what's happening here. This is my goal. It's what I'm going to try and capture. But depending on the people I film or the situation, it can change. Maybe people don't want me to film, and I said, okay, well, I'm not going to film the people here. I'm going to be more in the nature.
Do you get often rejected or?
Yeah.
You just kind of feel it. You just kind of have to feel it, right?
You can feel it. You can tell. You can sense when someone's not happy with you pointing a camera at them. So don't push it. Move away. But again, like your demeanor, being happy and that sort of thing,
exactly.
it goes a long way. But yeah, I'd say it's about working on the fly. When I used to work when I used to do a lot of sport, it's helped me a lot by reading a situation. Reading a different situation. Yeah. You need to learn to read the situation you're in, because if you don't have control of the variables, if they're not people that you can say, oh, do this, do that, you need to be able to read the scene. If you can see someone's about to do something, preempt it. And yeah, that just comes with experience and practice.
Can you share, I have a really good question right now, which I didn't highlight. Can you share some business insights when you're starting out, like approaching clients? Is there any kind of tip you can give?
Yeah, I think when you have to remember that clients are people like you and me. We're all the same. So the way you talk with people and the way you communicate with people is such a big part of it. If you can almost, make a friend with your client, if you work on a particular project and you make it easy for them, you make it, you make them enjoy the project as much as you do, they are 10 times more likely to come back and ask for you to do the next job. You know, if they're like, wow, we want that guy, he did a good job and he was fun and he was an easy person to work with, that's how you get repeat business. It's easy to get one job, but you want to keep those clients for the next decade. You want them to keep coming back. Yeah,
definitely, because like I've been for so many years in a business, and the thing is, it's like easy to get clients, easy to do the jobs, but the hardest part is like to get, I wouldn't say get friends of that, but just be with them. It's the hardest part.
It is hard, but like, yeah, I mean, practice it in terms of just the way you speak with people over email, and if you can, get on a phone call. I find it 10 times easier to be able to speak to someone, and you know, it's a lot closer. You can hear the tone of voice. You can read the situation better.
Definitely.
Yeah. How do you focus manually while on a gimbal on the GH5? Yeah, that's a tough one.
Do you use actually gimbal on travels? Because it's very unusual, right? To travel.
I travel with it all the time, but in most scenarios, I don't use it because a lot of people, you know, it's quite imposing. Again, you know, you're running around with a gimbal, people might not act natural around you, so it depends on the scene. So on the gimbal, because it's on my GH5, I'm shooting manual focus. It'll normally be a wide angle, and I'll stop it to maybe f4, something like that, depending on the scene. But the wider it is, if I'm trying to capture an entire scene, and the truth is, you know, because it's manual focus, you either revolve around your subject, keeping them in focus, or if they're moving, you just stay at the same distance from them. And a lot of the time, it will be out of focus. But when it comes to editing, you choose that moment where it is in focus. It is hard. That's when I wish I had autofocus.
You should definitely make some kind of course, like tips. You should like actually do some more YouTube videos, like giving some tips and stuff like that. I think people will enjoy it.
This coronavirus stuff has made me made me think about it. Yeah.
How do you deal with when you like out of creativity?
Yeah, it's there's no doubt it happens, and it happens often. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain that people, you know, a lot of people that aren't in the creative world, you know, they're like, just make another video or just do this. But it's quite hard to explain when, if you're just not feeling it, you're not feeling it. So often when I'm burnt out, I have to stop. I have to take a break. Do things that make me feel alive again, you know. Sometimes it's actually going and doing a bit of travel without my camera, just to inspire me to not have the pressure on my shoulders, having to do the creation process. So do the things you enjoy, give yourself a bit of time, but sometimes getting just back on the horse gets you going. You do something, you enjoy it, and you're like, okay, I'm back in. But there's no harm in taking a small break. Pushing through it, which I've done many times before, just leads to a bigger burnout a couple months down the line.
Yeah, I think one tip I can give is like, don't just focus on something. Try to do many things when you are like very in a situation where you don't have creativity, like doing different things.
Yeah, doing different.
You like to change your perspective, right? And be more creative, like.
Definitely.
Let me see. Feel free now to pick one comment, you as well.
Sure. This one says here, which favorite video? The ones on, I'll stick to the ones on my YouTube account. I've made lots of videos for lots of other companies, brands, people. But if on my particular YouTube channel, it's probably, I think, my Mongolia film, mainly because of just... Again, it was me. I had a free moment. I had a month free.
Which I wanted to go last, right?
Yeah, I wanted to go and do some solo travels.
Oh yeah.
And again, like, you know, sometimes it's nice. Like, you know, I went and I used my own money. I went out there for 2 weeks by myself. I just had a basic plan and idea, and you know, I was kind of testing myself. I'm like, okay, Bryn, go and just travel. But take your camera with and see what you can do, you know. So there's no pressure on my shoulders in terms of having a client, worrying about that. It was just doing what I felt like doing. And I made that video, and now it's got over 1.5 million views.
Oh my God.
And it feels so good when you're like, I just did what I felt like doing, and it worked, and people enjoyed it. So I think that video will always be a favorite, just because it was the first time I took a risk, and it worked out. Yeah.
That's actually a very good tip, like for getting inspired, because you like do something that you really love. You don't have any kind of pressure.
Yeah, the pressure part.
Exactly. And then at the end, when you have so many amazing feedbacks about it, it's just priceless, right?
Yeah. But Bangladesh as well. That was. I did the exact same thing. I just randomly booked a ticket to Bangladesh, planned it all within a week. I just reached out. There were some amazing guys on Instagram that followed me from Bangladesh. I got them to buy me. Shout out to them if they're listening. Bought me a train ticket to get from one city to the other, because you have to buy them 2 weeks in advance, sort of thing. So I planned this all by myself. And just sort of went out there and just winged it. But the people you meet along the way that you never plan on it, the things you see, the situations you get yourself into are just...
Yeah.
So that's why from now on, I've decided I will be making behind-the-scenes videos when I do these types of trips, because although the film that comes out of it is great, I think what happens behind the scenes and the situations you can get yourself into as a run-and-gun filmmaker is incredible. I think there's way more...
Number one fan watching your BTS.
And Nice.
So maybe after this period pass away, this COVID, so we should just meet up and do some crazy stuff.
I'm always down, man. I'm always down.
Nice. Actually, to be honest, we have really few minutes more left, because there's a limit of Instagram, 1 hour. So let's just play another question. You can pick up. And
sure. Let's see. Here we go. How do I budget my trips? It's tough. I just keep it as cheap and as simple as I can, man. Some of the, you just keep it. And I keep it cheap. That's the answer. What else do we have here? Another quick one. Good. So
what's your favorite filmmaker? What's your favorite?
Brandon Lee, I think, is probably.
My God. Did you saw the live we did? With
yeah.
Nice. I hope he's watching.
Probably. Yeah, I get inspired by that dude a lot, because, he's so underrated with the type of person he is as well. He's all about the film, the story. I've got a lot to learn from that guy. So I would recommend, if you guys don't know Brandon Lee, go check out his stuff.
He's really a master.
Yeah.
Anyways.
One more.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go.
My first steps towards creating. It's just starting. Don't wait. Just go. Start now. Practice. That's it.
How can you push yourself to the limit to get the best results?
Put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. You'll be surprised how much further you can go than you think. Put yourself in a situation that you would not normally do. Be a yes person. If someone says, "Can you do this job?" Even though you can't do the job,
man, right?
Just say yes. Put yourself in that situation. I promise you'll do better than you think.
Definitely. How was your trip with Sam?
I think Sam and I are pretty good friends now. We've done a couple videos together, and I enjoy hanging out with him. I think those trips are always fun because we just hang out as friends, and then we get to do what we love. I don't take it too seriously. It's purely just we go out there and we have a bit of fun. And Sam's a great guy.
Awesome. Man, I just wanted to thank you so much for your amazing time, your priceless advice. I hope we can meet each other one time.
Yeah, man.
Again, some lives, because there's a lot of questions I really enjoy it, because people are involved and really enjoy our time. So I just thank you so much for being here with us. And we'll see. We're waiting for a new video.
Oh yeah, man. I don't have any of my hard drives. They're all stuck in a different city at this point. Because of the lockdown, I can't get them. So, yeah, it's been tough. But anyway, as soon as all this passes over and I'm able to travel and without any worries about health and all the rest, there'll be some new videos coming. And I'm actually gonna have a little competition running soon off my Instagram. If everyone wants to go and check that out soon, I'd love it if you guys could get involved.
Yes,
we'll make
please.
It fun.
Yes, please. Maybe you can share with us and we can just help you out promoting them.
For sure.
Amazing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate this so much. Honestly, it's been
amazing
good
to
fun.
meet you.
Yeah, dude. All right.
Bye.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Ciao.